The title of the book, How to Treat Your Dogs and Cats with Over-the-Counter Drugs. And the author is Dr. Robert L. Ridgway, and Dr. Bob joins us now on iUniverse Radio. Hello, Dr. Bob.
Hi there. How are you today?
Good to have you with us. Now, I want to read a couple things that you have written about your book. We're talking about 103 conditions that either can be treated at home or you give guidance on how pet owners can prevent health problems or diseases in their pets. That really sums it up. It's very comprehensive. And what I love about it, Dr. Bob, it's easy to read.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the most common comments about the book. It's easy to read and understand.
And that's so important, obviously, if we're going to so-called be our own pet doctor, if you will. So you must have seen a big need.
I did. There was three major reasons why I wrote the book. I had been thinking about writing it for several years, but because I would treat animals in a hospital or a clinic setting, and I could tell them to go get it over the counter and save them some money. So I thought I could kind of put that together. And then I bumped into people who never, ever take their pets to see a veterinarian. And secondly, I have friends who would love to take their pet, but they can't afford to do so. And a third reason that I wrote the book was that many people have purchased over-the-counter drugs and did not know how much dose that the pet should receive, and they overdose it and either make the pet very, very sick or kill their pet unintentionally. So those are the reasons I wrote the book.
Well, you've been told that the book is foolproof. Now, that's quite an endorsement.
Yes, that came from, I was shocked really to hear that. I have an acquaintance who has a equine rescue group, and some of the people from the North American Veterinary Conference that got the book, and apparently they're the ones that made that statement. So, you know, I was shocked, but pleased to hear it.
And you've even gotten excellent feedback from fellow vets.
Well, yeah, one in particular actually was an interview, and he was also a veterinarian on the radio, and he said that he gets calls at night, and if they can't come in on an emergency basis, he whips out my book and tells them what to do until they can get in to see them.
Well, that's another great endorsement. My goodness, fantastic. Well, you know, the book is broken down into 9 chapters. It's very comprehensive, and another thing that is so impressive is that you've taken the guesswork out of giving the right drug dose. You explain that. Explain what you've done.
Well, I was concerned about some people calculating the dose, and they may calculate the dose incorrectly. It suggested to me to put one page and show how to calculate a dose of a drug, but I was concerned about that. So what I did is that I manufactured and put into the book a dose chart for the drugs that need to be given, and all they have to do is know the weight of their dog, look across the chart for the weight of that dog and get the dose and give that dose. It's just that simple. All you have to do is know the weight, look at your weight, and it'll give you the dose that's needed for that dog or cat, and you can treat it according to that. You know, and my concern was if we overdose, then people are going to say the book's no good. And so I very carefully make sure that you're not going to harm your pet if you use the dose that I have provided in the book. However, I cannot be present, nor can you or anybody else, when they make a decision to do a particular thing. And so we cannot control what they do. We can give them guidance and tell them what they should do, but what they actually do is, again, something else.
Well, again, there are 9 chapters. Here are some of the headings for the chapters, and we'll talk about some of the details of Dr. Bob, if you will, and kind of give us an example. But like Chapter 1, trauma, seizures, and disease prevention. Chapter 2, behavioral problems. Chapter 3, intestinal disorders. Chapter 4, skin conditions. Chapter 5, the eyes have it. Why don't you give us some a couple of examples from anywhere in those first 5 chapters, Doctor, to kind of give us an idea of how easy it is to follow.
Okay. Well, in Chapter 1, for example, ears it can be a real problem, particularly those dogs that have flop ears and Cocker Spaniels and that kind of thing. In that the major reason for the ear infection is that they don't keep the ears clean, and we don't maybe look at the ears very frequently, so they need to be looked at, on occasion, and make sure that there's nothing going on in there. But if you start to see discoloration, black around the edges and so forth, that's a sign that there's a problem. And so at the very beginning, I explain how you can clean the ears by just using mineral oil. Fill the ear with mineral oil and massage the ear. Do both ears. Let the dog flop its head. Do that 3 times. And take some warm water and warm now, not hot, not cold, just warm, and clean the oil out. Do that twice. And that normally cleans the ears almost 100% of the time if you do what I just explained. And that's just explained in more detail in the book. Another is embedded collars. People buy a collar and put it on the neck of a dog that's growing and never realize that the dog's growing, but the collar is not, and it gets embedded. And I've seen some of them so deep that the depth of the wound in the neck on the ventral side is as deep as the width of my hand. It's just unbelievable. Coughing, the dog keeping you up at night. Give you some guidance on what you can purchase at the grocery store, for Walmart or a pharmacy, and give a proper dose for that. Another one is I've had enough cases. The reason I put this in here is dogs fetching balls, is that people buy a ball and then go out and play with their pet, and they throw it, and the dog gets it, and it gets caught in the throat. And when that happens, you don't have time to put the dog in a car and take it to your veterinarian. You have to do it right there, on the spot. And so I explained the Heimlich maneuver and beating on the chest, and if necessary, doing a tracheotomy. And that's explained in the book. Trimming toenails is one. People cut the toenails, and oh my gosh, they bleed all over the place. So I tell them what to do in case they have bleeding toenails. Now, going on to the next chapter, which was Chapter 2, you said behavioral problems. Well, sometimes we have animals that mess in the house, and so, defecate or urinate in the house. And so I give you some things that you can do to overcome that. And in any instance, there's nothing that's 100%. Nothing that's 100%. But if you follow what I've given in the book, most of the time it's successful. Another problem I have is petting-induced aggression in cats. You're petting a cat and all of a sudden it bites. And so I have something there that you need to take care of in that case. And so when friends come over and you tell them, hey, don't pet the cat, guess what they're going to do? They're going to pet the cat and they're going to get bit. On intestinal disorders, we have such things as constipation, hairballs, and loose stools. And hairballs are very common in cats, and they can be treated very easily by just going to the grocery store and buying a can of carnation concentrated milk or concentrated carnation's pet milk. Let the cat drink it, and it will clean out the hairballs in most time in one day. Now I don't know. I don't know what the price of carnation milk is. $1 maybe. Loose stools, you can use Imodium, and the dose is in the book. Imodium is you can purchase at grocery stores, Walmart, pharmacies. It's all over the place. Not a problem. I explain why you should not ever feed a dog an all-meat diet, because you think you're really doing your pet a real favor, and in reality, you're killing it. It's just a matter of time, and it depends on how much actual meat versus giving it some real food, either for cats or dogs. And I talk about you're going to take your pet on a trip, what you need to do. and where you can get the drug to handle it if it's necessary. Let's see, you went to chapter 4. Demodex is a very common mite on the skin. Lay terms, they call it red mange. The first time I heard that, I was, what in the world are they talking about? Well, it's Demodex, and it's a mite that gets in the hair follicle. And if you look at it underneath a microscope, it looks somewhat like a cigar with little tiny legs. And the hair falls out, and the dog starts to stink. I had one guy tell me his wife wanted me to get rid of the dog because it stunk so bad. And he started on this treatment. The hair grew back, and the smell went away. And he thought, oh man, you know, you're something. Well, it's not me. He knew what to. After he knew what to do, he was able to treat it himself. Hot spots are kind of common, and one of the major causes of hot spots is because people are not treating for fleas, and you get this real horrendous, very sore oozing of serum, and so I tell you what to do and how to treat it and that type of thing. Skin wounds, what to do with cuts, wounds, and that type of thing. You said something about chapter 5. Let's see here what we got. Cherry eye, that's a condition in the eye of the third eyelid. And you get this gland that, instead of staying down where it belongs, it pops up to the dorsal side of the top side of the third eyelid, which is called the nictitating membrane. And so you see this red spot in the middle, the corner of the eye next to the nose. And to really correct that, it has to have surgery. That's something that the owner can't do, but if they don't know what it is, they think that maybe there might be some kind of medicine you put in the eye to treat it. Well, there's just nothing that you can do. That's one thing that, if you want it corrected, that your veterinarian's going to have to help you with. A foreign body behind the third eyelid, it doesn't take much for it to cause a real problem in the eye, and it's very, very sore. The problem is if you're trying to manipulate that, it's so sore that the dog normally, or cat, will not tolerate you messing with their eye. And your pet's doctor can put some drops in there, and in a matter of seconds, the pain is gone. So it's very easy for them to check that. So what I've done here is I tell you, you can go so far, but there's some things you just can't do because either you don't have the equipment, you don't have the medication that's necessary, and so it's kind of a figment of imagination to think that you can do everything without some help from somewhere at the time. I think those are the 5 chapters you covered.
Right. Yes. Very impressive, Dr. Bob. There's no doubt you are the expert, and you've been able to take something that may be rather complicated and, of course, medical, because you could be using all kinds of medical terms that we wouldn't understand. But if you put it into layman's language, and it sounds like even I could treat my cat or dog. So, and I just want to just share the rest of the chapter headings. We're just about out of time. Chapter 6 is skin challenges to be conquered. Chapter 7, easy to prevent but often hard and expensive to treat. Chapter 8, nutrition and other digestive tract occurrences. And Chapter 9, trauma and other occurrences. What's an occurrence?
Well, some of them are rather simple. In some areas of the country, there's grasses that have awns on the top of them, and those awns are designed so that they can dig into the soil. They're seeds, and they dig in. Well, they not only dig into the soil, they'll dig into bodies, and they'll dig into a cat or a dog, and you get these draining tracts, and they're terrible to treat. First of all, you got to have antibiotics. Secondly, you normally have to do surgery to find it, and that's just nothing but an exploratory, and you don't know where it's at, and you hope you're going to find it, and you just keep going and going and going, and maybe never find it because it has now penetrated the chest or the abdominal cavity, and it's like treating cancer. You just have to treat it all the time. That was one, like kennel cough, which is a rather common occurrence in dogs. And you'll notice that the dog will start coughing as the day progresses, and it starts to get cool, and they start coughing. And sometimes they cough so much to keep you awake at night. So I tell you what, you can do that. Head tilt, that's due normally to not keeping the ears clean. And we talked about cleaning the ears in the first chapter. So if you just clean the ears and make sure that you're not having it, you're not going to have head tilt. The problem is, if you get head tilt, is because you didn't take care of the dog like maybe you should have or wished you had of when that occurs. I want to tell you, if you can prevent disease before it happens, you're going to save the dog agony, the cat agony, and you're going to save money. And so that's the name of the game, preventive medicine. And it's very, very important to do those kinds of things. On some small newborn animals, you'll see sometimes an umbilical little hernia. If that hernia is small, it doesn't get larger, it doesn't disappear, and you push on it, it stays the same. You don't have to have surgery. However, if you push on it and you feel a hole, you probably ought to have surgery on it. So I kind of give you some guidance on some things that you can do. Okay?
Well, very good, Dr. Bob. The title of the book, How to Treat Your Dogs and Cats with Over-the-Counter Drugs, and Dr. Robert L. Ridgway, a doctor of veterinary medicine. Dr. Bob, tell us how to get your book.
Well, you can go to www.authorridgway.com. Now, Ridgway is spelled without an E. It's R-I-D-G-W-A-Y. Contrary to popular demand, there is no E in my name. You can also go to Amazon.com, books, and look at that. But when you go to Amazon.com books, animal dog or pet books do not normally pop up, so you need to put over there where you can search for books, either over-the-counter drugs for dogs and cats, or put the title in or something like that, so you can get it to come up. That works the same way with Books A Million, and you can go to iUniverse, which is the publisher. They have it there also, and so that's about it. There's another one I can't think of right offhand that also sells. Oh, let's see, Books A Million, Amazon.com, iUniverse. Oh, yeah, on Barnes & Noble. Actually, you can go to Barnes & Noble, and if you order it through Barnes & Noble, you don't have to pay the shipping charge. So it's, $2 or $3 cheaper.
Well, Dr. Bob, thank you so much for your expertise and your ability to help even the person that would never think that they could help their dog or cat at home. So a great service. Thank you for being with us on iUniverse Radio.
You're quite welcome. My pleasure.